Hi, everyone. Welcome to Recovery Season 2, the new normal. I'm your host, Alain Kabata Shungu. In this episode, I'm really excited to speak to Amy Kong, co founder and broker at Trust Real Estate, and the 2021 AREAA National President. So, for clarity, AREA stands for Asian Real Estate Association of America. But first of all, Amy, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to meet you finally.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I'm really happy to have you here. So to kind of get us started, Amy, is the first question that we always like to ask is, could you please walk us through or try to describe to us what is your quote unquote typical work day during this pandemic, pretty much?
Well, it's very simple. It's basically wake up, Zoom, Zoom,
Yes,
and Zoom.
a lot of Zooms.
So, right? And then after all this Zoom is done,
Yes.
then I Zoom myself into the kitchen, Zoom myself into YouTube, and learn a little bit about cooking. And over the weekend, of course, we go on Zoom again, to
Oh
go.
my God.
And I finished a 2,000 piece of puzzles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And of
huge.
course, finish cleaning up my closet.
That is a full day right there.
Yeah, there you go.
The 2000, especially the 2000 pieces of puzzle. I mean, that is something. Um, I
Yeah.
wanted I wanted to ask you as a co-founder of and broker of Trust Real Estate, and also the 2021 AREAA National President. How did you stay like on top of your agents and clients' needs during this pandemic? How did you manage to still be able to serve them and communicate with them? What did you do? Zoom meetings and all.
Well, I guess there are two major changes during my term, right?
Okay.
One, I have to thank you to COVID, which is not anything pleasant, but
Yes.
bending from traveling around the country to visit our chapters, I
Got it.
ended up meeting them with Zoom, as I mentioned, right?
Yes.
Which allowed me to do more in reality in a much shorter period of time. So,
Oh
for example,
wow.
I have to do an installation with a chapter. I don't have to fly over there, stay in the hotel,
Got it.
wait for the gala, and then come back. It takes a day and a half. But
That's
now I
all.
can do it within an hour.
Okay. Oh
So,
wow.
so you can imagine the efficiency completely increased.
Absolutely.
I can
Absolutely.
the maximum that I did was like 3 installation in one day.
Wow. Okay. That that
That's
is that is that is not doable with travel.
Yeah, that's time saving. Number two is that September of 2019,
Okay.
I at the business switch model. We
Got it.
leave current franchise and move
Oh,
over partner with a company called Siding.
got
And
it.
this partnership has been a blessing during my term as a volunteer
Wow.
AREAA National President
Okay.
because they're a technology company, right? So the support from the back
Absolutely.
is completely tremendous. It
Wow.
leaves a lot more time, not just to communicate with my client, but to answer and assist our agents when needed.
Absolutely.
So, they will be able to succeed as well, especially
Absolutely.
during the COVID time. One thing very important that we have to keep
Wow.
communication. We've been isolated from our community. Do not find ways to
Great.
communicate, not just on Zoom, right? But pick
Absolutely.
talk and let people vent out their anxiety, their loneliness. I
Agreed.
think that's really, really important. We as a real estate professionals, we also anticipate things like that, right? Our listing,
Absolutely.
we cannot do nothing, especially in
Absolutely.
the Bay Area. We cannot even go out and host open house. What does that
Wow.
translate? How we will be able to show our listing to people? All these things come to mind, and and
Yeah.
and can be really, really depressed. So during that period of time, the communication,
Yes.
cheer each other's up are very, very crucial. So that's what we.
Absolutely. Absolutely, that is powerful. To kind of continue on that, talking about the area, about the association, can you maybe tell us a little bit about some of the measures or ideas that you have implemented? Because everybody pretty much looked at you as a president like, okay, what are we supposed to do now? Like, what have you done idea wise or empowerment wise as it pertains to encouraging those agents who gonna, continue to keep on even though the times have been pretty difficult lately?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. This is a very interesting and challenging time, right?
Absolutely.
Face to face, it is hard for our chapter leaders to communicate with
Great.
local members, right? So
Absolutely.
also during this period of time, we see a number of drop in membership.
Okay.
So, but then on the other hand, we also really care about our own chapter leaders. So we
Absolutely.
keep communicating with them. We have never stopped in doing whatever that we've been doing, like our
Okay.
summit, like our events. We have never stopped doing that, but the format is different. So when
Got
we
it.
apply the format at the beginning, we have no experience. So we just do it in a boring way, right?
Absolutely.
And as time goes by, we were like, no, we have to revamp it. How we would be able to make them more engaged, even though online, right?
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
interesting learning path to every single one of us. But on top of that, I'm very, very proud of our team. Is that every year in April, we put together something called Global Luxury Summit.
Okay.
Because within AREAA, there is a chunk of people that really are focusing on the luxury market.
Yes.
And most of us are immigrant. So
Yes.
we have a very strong tie with our own hometown in Asia.
Absolutely.
So global business become really natural.
Got
But
it.
this, because of the Asian hate crime been escalating
Yes. We're gonna speak about it a little.
imaginable.
Absolutely.
So a lot of our members bring to our attention, and also we decided we cannot look this beyond, even though
Agreed.
not any social justice organization. But
Yes.
we feel like if our own people cannot even walk around their neighborhood with peace,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
being forced to have a second thought of, should I leave this neighborhood?
Exactly.
Much more
Exactly.
people in the Bay Area
Great.
that really get AREAA involved,
Oh
right?
wow.
We promote sustainable homeownership to the
Absolutely.
community. But if we are being forced out to some sort of neighborhood, that's not right. And that
That's
has a
not
lot
absolutely.
of housing, right? And diversity. So that's why we put off that luxury global summit, but put together a diversity and fair housing summit to
That is
address
awesome.
to talk about topics that we feel really uncomfortable to talk about.
Absolutely.
What that means, what are the discriminations that we are facing out there, right? Not just
Absolutely.
Black Lives Matter as well. Our
Absolutely.
entire community are kind of breaking apart. We wanted
Yes.
to unite them, through the way how we provide platform for people to really voice out their opinion. We are the voice of the AAPI community in their housing need. How on earth we are
Absolutely.
not doing something like this?
Wow.
So we did that, and I'm very proud of our organization that really have the courage to be the voice.
That is
And
powerful.
another thing that I think is a win. And then, of course, at the beginning of my term, I always say that AREAA did a lot of great things,
Yes.
but not a lot of people know about it.
Oh
So we
wow.
need to make a decision to really share our works to
Got it.
right? So we
Okay.
increase the level of communication. So you see that we have articles with Inman, we have articles with
Wow. That's awesome.
we have a distribution of our thoughts and
Okay.
ask to not just our politician partners, but also to our community to let them know what the homeownership rate is all about here
Got
in
it.
US on the AAPI community and all kinds of stuff. So with that, we're being invited to talk a lot more about us. So I
Got it.
think that's a great start. And I'm looking forward that our future leadership will continue that kind of good work.
That is powerful, Amy. That is definitely something that we kind of hear a lot about it, but it feels like there's some type of ranking as it pertains to who gets bullied the most, and I think it's a foolish debate. And I really love what you just shared there as it pertains to just coming together. And I think it's not even just a problem of the Asian community, because I believe that we should just embrace everybody and be in a position where if somebody gets, bullied, then we get to hear and see the story, which is incredible in 2021. But I think that the initiatives that you've taken are really, really powerful, because again, you continue to empower not only your community, but also, your agents and some of your members. And I think that's the right path. And definitely, you can only hope that the next leadership will even increase and continue to build on what you just started. And I think it's great.
Yeah, that's the beauty within AREAA. It's not a one person dictate,
Absolutely.
right? But we share the vision and the work and the
Yes.
connection, so as to continue move the organization forward. The word continue means it's not just within my term.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's powerful. Completely agree. I agree with that. What is to you, Amy, the one aspect or the one element that, before COVID was completely overlooked in our industry, and now it's here to stay pretty much? What is that one thing for you? You go like every time you think about it, you're like, okay, this is not a trend. This is something that is gonna stay, COVID or no COVID. What is that one thing to you?
Well, I think COVID actually wake up and provided a complete different way of looking at how people can be productive, especially in industry.
That's a great one. Yes.
So this changed the demand of more space for
True.
individuals. I have a friend, I tell you, share this funny story. I have a
Sure,
friend
absolutely.
used to live in a studio with his girlfriend downtown San Francisco.
Okay.
So both of them are intact, right?
Got
so during lockdown, they both struggle to have a quiet place for their own Zoom meeting.
Yes.
One day I was Zooming with my friend, and then I was like, hey, your background is quite interesting, right? It's quite beautiful. So ended up show me the reality. He actually used the vanity in the bathroom as his pets.
Wow.
And curtain the backdrop.
Oh my God, that is something.
While the girlfriend is like staying outside in the living room. So I tell you, ended up what happened is that I helped them purchase a 5-year new single family house.
Yes.
Outskirts of San Francisco, a little city called Pittsburgh.
Okay, got it.
2 baths for only $405,000. That
Wow.
way, own space to work.
Exactly.
And if you can call back to the office downtown, they can easily take BART to them.
Wow.
So I mean, I have never thought of downtown tech folks who live in so far away with nothing out there.
That is real.
Young couple enjoy the space that they have.
Absolutely.
And then now I tell you, the value of the house is like around $650 already, and I'm very happy.
Wow, that is incredible.
So that's something. It's an after COVID,
Yes,
a fact.
I agree.
Outskirts is like getting shut up really high.
I completely agree, and we are seeing that in every major market, and especially even here in Europe, you have people leaving Paris to go in the south, just because in Paris it's all apartments. And when the government starts talking about being in sheltered for like months upon months, everybody wanted to leave their apartments, get into a home, have a garden, things of that nature. So I completely understand your friend on that one, because it's not the same to be sheltered in an apartment and to be sheltered in the beautiful home where you have space, where you can actually enjoy yourself. It completely makes sense. Wow, that's a great story. To kind of pursue on that aspect of real estate, I mean, whether it's here in Europe, I was talking a little bit earlier about it, or in the US, we are seeing record low housing inventory. I don't know how that goes in San Francisco, but really tipped in sellers' favor, at least for now. You leading Trust Real Estate, can you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing to help agents really understand like the mindset of a seller in this current market?
Well, it's very easy to understand. We don't have to educate much, right? Seller is always, I want the highest price, right?
Yes.
But that's really easy. But the thing is, I always stress that is that we as a real estate professional, we are not any salesman
Got
that
it.
would tell you sell, 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 or buy, 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 right? We always
Absolutely.
analyze the needs of the consumer and then really put them into understanding of the market condition and
Awesome.
how the market is going to take them as a buyer or as a seller, right?
Got it. Got it.
Always, our office always share market information from all aspects, right?
Got it.
From association, realtor, to Inman, to NAR, and of course, AREAA.
Oh,
Events all over the country, give you all
absolutely.
kinds of different perspective, right?
Wow.
I guess you've been living in the Bay Area. Bay Area
Yes,
is so small and it's like
absolutely.
so expensive. But if you go to Tennessee, come on, half of the cost you can live in a mansion, right? With
Absolutely.
square
Completely
feet.
agree. Agree.
Yeah, so within AREAA, because of the network, we can
Yes,
jump to any of the AREAA virtual event and educate yourself with different
that is
markets,
awesome. That is
or even
awesome.
simply pick up a phone call and call my friend in Vancouver or call my friend in Alabama.
Yes,
Hey, how's the market treating you? What's going on there? You learn a lot more about others. So when
agreed.
you come back to consultation with your buyer or seller,
Yes,
your conversation becomes so dynamic. And at the same time, because we don't have a lot of inventory, so we can
yes,
easily understand what's going on with that pending listing, what's going on
exactly.
with the listing, and then
Absolutely.
we have a full picture, not just in the micro market, but in the macroeconomic
Agreed.
situation as well. So once we share all this information, let them make a decision. If you want to sell
Yes.
now, sell now. If you don't want to sell it, if you still believe that 2 years down the road, the housing market will continue to double the price, or
That
DMI,
is real. That is
right?
true.
But in the meantime, if you're dreaming about that double the price, don't torture me. List it with somebody else.
Absolutely. That is true. That is true. It's actually incredible to hear that. Even you've already kind of, that in San Francisco, obviously, inventory is something that is really difficult because even pre-COVID, the city is so vibrant. Everybody was relocated there. I moved from Montreal to there. So everything that is startup or entrepreneurship related was everything needed to happen there. So to hear that even San Francisco today is also going to um, low inventory, it's quite something.
Yeah, I share a very interesting analogy that
Sure.
my told me. Um, she's a buyer, and
Okay.
then she was like, "Oh my goodness, all these homes are so expensive. All in a sudden, you just sold right there with 10, 15 offer. I cannot bid for that. I cannot do that." And I'm like, "Look, girl, if you knowingly know that the Chanel Classic bag is going to increase price by July 1st for another 15%. Are you going to grab
Wow.
one now?"
That's a great analogy. That's actually a great analogy.
Right?
Wow.
You buy now. If you know that if you don't do it full force this time, the next one come up will be higher than the one that people pay. Then are you
Wow.
willing to pay the one higher? It's very simple, right? So
That's incredible. That tells a lot about you, Amy. It just shows like how well you know your clients because you went there and you knew that the analogy will definitely hit home, which is unbelievable
now
because that was a great analogy.
you were in Paris, so you know well, right? Chanel clearly
Absolutely.
price.
I agree. I definitely agree. I love that analogy. This is the first time I love the way you just understood it, kind of figure out what your client was. That is powerful. Um, to kind of continue on that aspect of real estate and your agents and what you guys are doing, can you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing as it pertains to listing presentations? Because to reassure sellers today in today's market, they kind of need to know and really feel that your agents are competent to help them because now we're hearing a lot about multiple offer situations with issues like earnest money, financing contingency, things of that nature. And I was wondering, what are you guys doing as it pertains to listing presentations? Any tools, things that you are using at the company?
Well, because as I mentioned earlier, I partnered with Ing, right? So the
Got it.
tools provided
That's awesome.
top-notch, easy to
Okay.
use, even though
Okay.
I'm a Generation X, and I'm still be able to move around with those tech
That's
stuff.
awesome.
So you can imagine how easy, and the
That's
presentation
awesome.
is beautiful. But I guess
Got
a
it.
lot of that is all about the in-person or the interaction with your
Yes.
client.
Yes.
If you're talking about financing contingencies, that kind of stuff,
Yes.
we don't worry about it here in our Bay Area because
Got it.
everybody with their offer so clean, basically
Wow.
everything waived. So how
Wow.
buyers will be able to do that is because they and their agent partner well and do
Got
their
it.
homework upfront. They have to read all the disclosure, making sure they understand the condition, and then
Okay.
they will definitely do a pre-approval instead of just
Wow.
a qualification,
Got it.
right? So that they will be able to have that kind of confidence to move forward. A lot of
Absolutely.
that I see, their appraisal, yes, there might be appraisal gap, but our appraiser is quite good here. They kind of adjust the increment based on
Got it.
market situation. But on the other hand, as a buyer standpoint, they always come in with a little bit cushion on their cash reserve. So just in
Awesome.
case there is an appraisal gap, that they will be able to handle it. Of
Makes
course, we
sense.
spell it out. And as a seller standpoint, when we go do the listing presentation, we always share all this information with them so they
Got
will
it.
have peace of mind. And
Absolutely.
we'll definitely show them what has been sold, just like everybody else, right?
Yes.
No miracle. But the only one trick is that we will definitely help them visualize how they can make their house unique and
That's
look
true.
beautiful,
That's
right?
awesome.
Not in the eyes of a seller, but in the eyes of the consumer.
Got
So,
it.
and then once we package that well, once we make sure everybody sees the listing, make sure everybody comes in,
Yes.
then the highest and best offer can actually come in.
That's awesome. That is powerful. I love it. Um, this is a question directed towards you a little bit more. What are some of the lessons that you have learned, Amy, about yourself during this crisis, whether it's on a personal level or as a leader that you are leading Trust Real Estate and your company? What are some of the lessons that you've learned?
I guess the lesson I learned is that community is so important,
Agreed.
right? We've been isolated
Absolutely.
for so long, right?
Absolutely.
I don't have kids, so
Yes.
I have two cats, and if they need you, if they are hungry,
Yes.
they come to you. But if they don't need you, they hide themselves. That's
Agreed.
it. So I think that the community sense of community is very, very important. I learned
Absolutely.
to cherish family and friends more than anything else. Like,
Wow.
not even my purse, not even organized, right? Husband is my everything now.
Yes.
Family, including my AREAA family, are also something I care deeply. We
Absolutely.
really need to support the community so that we can all live in peace and with joy.
Absolutely. I love it. I love
That's
it. That's powerful. Absolutely. I love it. And it's funny how the sense of community and family is something that we kind of took for granted and just, went out and did life. And then this thing happened and everything stopped. And then you realize that, oh, wow, I have family members. So, oh, wow, I can spend time with this person or that person. It's actually, really have fun because I felt like before COVID, everybody was just running and running and running and running. And it just kind of forced us all to stop and take a moment a little bit. So now I think like as we kind of start to go out and even here in Europe, you're seeing people are more appreciative of their community, of their family, and even going back to the office. Like people now here, government-wise, they actually allow you to go back and be able to go to the office, but people are still staying home because they finally bonded and built that trust that pre-COVID wasn't really there. Like it's your family members, but you don't really get to see them that often. And
Mhm.
and I think that the sense of community is definitely something that it's more appreciated now. I agree.
Yeah, Alan, you mentioned something which is so true, is that we take it for granted,
Absolutely,
especially the
absolutely.
ones next to us.
Yes, exactly. I know I
Right?
did. That's why I say that.
You're not
Yes,
alone. I do
yes,
too. So the challenge is that, during lockdown, a lot of our friends is like, oh my goodness, I'll have to see him every day.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love to see him every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was, yeah, I heard that a lot as well. Here over in our family and friends and family as well, things of that nature.
Mm.
Um, you kind of touched on it a little early on at me, and I thought it was something that I really wanted to have your take on. We are seeing and hearing all about those hate rising toward Asian and Pacific and Islander communities in the U.S. And from afar here, this is something that it bugs me because I really don't I can't understand it. I know that in the U.S. we talk a lot about black people, which is a good thing, and I know we talk a lot about those communities, and I think that we don't do as well as a job as it pertains to talking about the Asian community and the Pacific Islander community. So I was really excited to have you on today and just gonna hear your thoughts on what you're thinking about this hate rising that we are seeing and those attacks and those people who just now are fearful, like pretty much going in the street, which is incredible in 2021 in a country like the US. So I was just excited to kind of have your thoughts on that.
Well, I guess we all know that our previous administration, our
Yes,
previous president, right? He loved to call the COVID.
absolutely.
He said what
Yes,
China virus, Kung
exactly.
flu, and intentionally or unintentionally, I give him the benefit of doubt that
Yes,
it pointed to the Asian community are the one
agreed.
bringing all these things. In
Agreed.
reality, it's not true. It's not true. You cannot put us in a scapegoat situation.
Absolutely.
So, but unfortunately, there is a whole bunch of follower that
Yes,
start to look into Asian, like you're the virus, you're the thing.
exactly.
So I guess that what triggers all these hate. Uh,
Agreed.
them.
Agreed.
And as time goes by, people been isolated so long, and the economy is not good. A lot of people,
Yes.
after the lockdown, all these crimes started to come up. The very first one, they feel like this group of people are quiet.
Yes.
They never get into
That's
trouble.
true. That's so true.
They are being hit or whatsoever. They might not even
Yes.
report to the police, right?
Absolutely.
From the target.
Yes.
So that's why we have this we have to group together and stand up and speak up,
Agreed. I agree.
right? People know that
Absolutely.
we're not anyone weak.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Say that. Absolutely. I love it.
If you
And
remember, one time there is a news reporting a elderly Asian woman got attacked on Market Street in San Francisco
that's
downtown.
insane.
I was so proud of this grandma. She picked up the wood stick and hit that guy really hard and
Oh wow.
to get into ambulance and go to the hospital while
Oh
she's
my God.
still like standing up. And so, oh,
That is actually awesome. You scared me a little bit. I thought that the ending wasn't this one. So yeah, she stood for herself. I mean, it's incredible to be able to think about something like that happening in the middle of San Francisco. But I don't know her, but I'm proud. I'm proud too. Actually, I'm proud too. I think it's powerful. I think it's powerful, and I think that what you're doing with AREAA, obviously, this is exactly what needs to be done, and the way you're leading this association and what you guys are doing over there. And I think that's why actually I wanted to have you on a show. People don't know this, but they're gonna be able to see this show. That's literally what I wanted to have you on the show because I've been kind of looking and seeing what you guys are doing, and I really wanted to just be able to promote it to my part, be able to have you guys on here. And I think what you guys are doing is fantastic.
thank
So
you so
that is
much. And
awesome.
I
Absolutely.
make sure I share this grandma story to you is not to portray violence because
Absolutely.
our community is not anyone like that. We are
Absolutely.
really peaceful. We are a group of people just want to find a solution and
Exactly.
don't ignore us. So that's why I
Absolutely.
always say if you wanted to help the API community, make sure you talk about them. Make sure
Exactly.
you get them up to
Exactly.
statistics.
Agreed.
We call others, right? We
Exactly.
others, even though our
Absolutely.
population size is 5-6% in the US, but we
Yes.
exist.
Exactly. Exactly. You guys exist. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So yeah, I'm really, really proud and happy to be able to have done this, and we'll continue to do that as much as we can. Hopefully, you can count on us as a resource. Anything that we can do to help, we can definitely believe that we're going to do it.
Agree.
Absolutely. So thank you, Amy, for your time today. This week's recovery episode with Amy Kong is now done. You can catch this episode on YouTube and on all platforms streaming podcasts. And remember, in the recovery, don't just get back to the same place, but strive to get to a better place. Thank you, everyone. Amy, thank you very much for this. This is a treat. I appreciate your time today.
I enjoy the conversation with you very much, gentlemen.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna let you know when the episode is gonna be able to air. Somewhere, I think beginning of the intake or the end of August. I think something like that. But I'm gonna keep you in the loop, obviously. And
Okay.
I meant what I say. If there's anything I can do, please think of me as a resource. Think of our company. Anything we can do to help, we are more than happy to do.
Really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely, my pleasure. And have a good day ahead and enjoy your weekend.
You have a great evening.
Absolutely. Thank you
Bye.
very much.